In the small community of Willow Creek, Tennessee, nestled amongst the rolling hills and verdant forests, there stood a historic hotel. The Willow Creek Hotel, as it was called, had been standing since the early 1900s and had seen many guests pass through its doors. However, in recent years, rumors had started to spread about strange occurrences happening within the hotel. Some people claimed to have seen ghostly apparitions in the hallways, while others reported hearing unexplained noises in the middle of the night. As the summer of 1987 approached, a young couple, Mark and Samantha, decided to take a weekend getaway to the Willow Creek Hotel. They had heard the rumors about the paranormal activity, but they didn't believe in ghosts and figured it would only add to the charm of their stay. Upon arriving at the hotel, Mark and Samantha were immediately struck by its grandeur. The lobby was filled with antique furnishings, and the walls were adorned with paintings of the hotel's early history. They checked in and were given a room on the third floor, with a balcony overlooking the courtyard below. As they settled into their room, Mark and Samantha couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The room was eerily quiet, and they could hear the creaking of the floorboards beneath their feet. Despite their initial reservations, they tried to push aside their fears and enjoy their stay. That night, as they lay in bed, they heard a strange noise coming from outside their room. It sounded like someone was walking down the hallway, but when they got up to investigate, they found no one there. They shrugged it off, thinking it was probably just another guest who had gotten lost in the maze-like corridors of the hotel. However, as the night wore on, the strange occurrences became more frequent. They heard unexplained knocking on their door, saw shadows moving across the walls, and felt a cold breeze blowing through the room even though the windows were shut tight. By morning, they were both exhausted and unnerved. The next day, they decided to do some investigating of their own. They spoke to the hotel staff, who were tight-lipped about the rumors of paranormal activity but hinted that they had heard similar stories from other guests. Mark and Samantha also decided to take a tour of the hotel, hoping to uncover some clues about its history. As they made their way through the corridors, they noticed that certain areas of the hotel seemed colder than others. They also discovered a hidden staircase leading to the basement, which had been closed off to guests. When they asked the staff about it, they were told that it had been sealed for safety reasons. That night, as they returned to their room, they found that the activity had intensified. The TV turned on by itself, the curtains rustled even though there was no breeze, and they both heard a voice whispering their names in the darkness. They were both terrified and decided to leave the hotel immediately. As they made their way down the hallway, they heard footsteps behind them. They turned around, but no one was there. Suddenly, they felt a cold hand on their shoulders, and they both screamed in terror. They turned around to see a ghostly figure standing before them. The ghostly figure was that of a young woman dressed in a white nightgown. She had a sad expression on her face and beckoned to them with her hand. They followed her down the hallway, and she led them to the hidden staircase that they had discovered earlier. They descended the staircase, and as they reached the bottom, they saw a sight that chilled them to the bone. The basement was filled with old furniture and decorations, and in the center of the room stood a large mirror. In the mirror, they could see the reflection of the young woman who had led them there. She looked at them with pleading eyes and beckoned to them once more. As they approached the mirror, they could feel a cold breeze blowing through the room. The young woman began to speak, her voice barely above a whisper.
"I am Abigail,"
she said.
"I lived in this hotel many years ago. I was in love with a man who stayed here, but he left me for another woman. I was heartbroken and took my own life. My spirit has been trapped here ever since."
Mark and Samantha were shocked by her story. They asked if there was anything that they could do to help her find peace.
"There is a locket,"
Abigail said.
"It belonged to my lover. If you can find it and return it to me, I can finally rest."
Mark and Samantha agreed to help her, and they set out to search for the locket. They combed through the hotel, searching for any clue that could lead them to the lost object. Finally, they found it. The locket was hidden away in a dusty corner of the attic, buried beneath a pile of old clothes. They brought it to Abigail, and as soon as she held it in her hands, she vanished into thin air. From that night on, the Willow Creek Hotel was a different place. The paranormal activity ceased, and the hotel had a peaceful aura. Mark and Samantha never forgot their encounter with Abigail and continued to visit the hotel regularly. They told their friends and family about the ghostly encounter and the legend of Abigail, and the Willow Creek Hotel became known as a place of both beauty and mystery.